You know, it's a big time event and a big time week in the sports tournament when Mike is here. Good Lord. Good Lord.
What's up?
Mike's here, ladies and gentlemen. One of the two biggest Thunder fans I know. And also one of the original co-hosts of Time to BS before, doing his own thing on air and doing his own successful thing on Air Raid Attack podcast. Dude, what's up?
Dude, well, first off, to all you listeners out there, kind of give me some grace today because it's been a minute since since I've been on this thing called the pod and the mic. But no, jokes aside, I mean, not really jokes aside, but back to this, dude. I'm doing well. It's life has been crazy and work has been insane, but I got a lot of weeks coming up now that expect a lot of new content and episodes. Just a spoiler for all you out there, but no, I'm doing well. Family's doing well, and kids growing up, and the Thunder, we're NBA champions.
As you probably couldn't tell, Mike is still perplexed and losing his mind because on the inside we'll start this off right out of the game. First of all, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Department of BS. Hold on, where did I put it? From the beaches of lovely Long Island, New York, it is Time to BS. I'm Dan Cruz. You can follow the show wherever you get your podcast and clips of the show on YouTube and TikTok at Daniel Smooth and at Time to BS Podcast. Twitter, Instagram, Threads, at Daniel Smooth and at Time to BS Podcast. You can follow Mike as well at Air Raid Mike on Twitter. Follow his show, the Air Raid Attack Podcast, and wherever you get your podcasts, and on YouTube as well for live streams.
Yes.
Did I cover everything?
Yep. You hit it out of the park for me.
Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. I was worried. I was so worried. Where's the clip? Where did I put the clip? For those who are into regular show, you're gonna love that joke. Oh boy. Oh. Mike, can you believe? First of all, I've been feeling a little nostalgic over the last few weeks or few days or so like that because it's been 6 years.
That's insane.
Since this show has started. And you were around from the very beginning. You remember pre-Time to BS, the Sports Cave.
Sports Cave, yep.
Oh my God. I was looking back at everything and just be like, wow. I recorded the show from 2 cell phones. From, you called in and then I recorded through the other phone. And then I posted to SoundCloud. It was like, wow.
That's, yep.
Wow.
Yeah, those were the pre-pods that I wouldn't say before we really got serious about what we want to do with it, but to get everything started, because, I mean, I went off of Anchor, which was at the time, you can just simply go off your app, record, and submit, and out the door you go. And
yeah.
And I was listening to some of my older ones, but 6 years. Yeah, I've gotten better since then. But 6 years though, it's insane because you got Will, and you had Dave.
Well, I'll get to that. So it was the original 5 was myself, you, Kyle.
Yep.
I haven't spoken to in a while, and I want to get back together with his
crazy self.
I'm trying to keep PG here, folks. Will, and then Dave, and then you went to do your own thing, and you've been doing awesome since then. Jesus, look at the journey you've been on and stuff like that. You're doing fantastic. And
same goes for you though.
I remember we were recording through Skype.
Oh my God.
Oh my wow. So context is key here, folks, ladies and gentlemen.
Now Skype is no longer around, correct?
Skype is no longer around. So that's the whole reason why I was bringing back the whole nostalgic feeling, which was like Skype is no longer around. We are recording the video call and the audio call through Skype. and I was posting the audio onto, at the time, Anchor, which is now since rebranded as Spotify for podcasters.
Yep.
And there was no intro. Actually, there was an intro, and then a buddy of mine has since made the current intro of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I look back at everything. I go, wow, so much has changed. Because Kyle I haven't spoken to in a while. I mean, Will and Dave, that's a rabbit hole we can go. But
yeah,
but at the same point, it's like, I'm grateful for everyone that has been involved in this journey, and that has continued to be involved in this journey. And you especially, geez, I mean, wow, it's been 6 years. I mean, it's been, how long have you been doing your show? 5 years, 6 years?
5 years, yeah.
Roughly, yeah.
We passed February of 2020 is when when I started. So yeah,
right in the heat of COVID too, right before the pandemic started.
And that's really what not really strove me, but that's really kind of what gave that hobby, because as we all know, you couldn't go anywhere, you couldn't hang out with nobody, you can't go do anything. So that's really where my social life became on the pod. Met a lot of good people. I know we knew through each other, prior to that, but still, I mean, Clyde Wong is the one that I met during that time. So just to name a few, Coach George, and so on and so forth. So yeah, dude, I can't believe it's 6 years.
Yes, nuts. It's nuts. And
Wow.
Do you remember how long the Sports Cave lasted for? 43 episodes. I will still remember that. Every time I
knew it was close to 50, but I wasn't for sure if we got 50 or not.
It was 43 episodes of the Sports Cave, and then there was no logo.
No.
The Time to BS, the whole origin story of Time to BS is a very interesting one. So it was the Sports Cave. 43 episodes later, I had the weird, stupid idea of, hey, let's make this more of a get together instead of just, hey, we're talking sports like ESPN. Because I didn't want to do that. I did not do that. I don't think any of us wanted to do that, but maybe except for Kyle. But Kyle's a sports fiend. What are you gonna do?
He's absolutely.
And then it later turned into wow, and few get-togethers later with a whole bunch of people, and then you did your own thing. I mentioned that before twice now, and just looking back on it and going where we were at that point to where it is now, it's unbleeping real. Because I did not think that this incarnation was going to last for a while.
Right.
Because of, our schedules, who we were as people at the time, we've all changed since then. Some of us have drifted apart. Some of us have, crossed that bridge on a later show and blah, 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 blah. But at the same point, it's this whole thing has remained alive. And it's like, not only has this show remained alive, your show has kept going because of the dedication that we continued to bring into this world. It's insane. It's a weird, crazy journey. It's a crazy journey. And I would ask myself or others this question: if you could go back in time and change one thing in your past. I've asked you this before. If you could go back in time and change one thing in your past, but that one thing in your past made you the person you are today, would you still change it? And the answer is no. I still want it.
No. Mm-mm.
And even through all the heartache, even through all the BS, the comedy and the not so comedic BS, I still would not change this for the world. And I'm thankful for everyone that has been involved in this journey. And it will continue for obvious reasons because, nothing else better to do. I got nothing else better to do besides work and do this and the gym, but what are you going to do? So my life is not that interesting, folks. Let's be real here. It is not. It's not. But It's gonna keep going. It's gonna keep going, bros. It's gonna keep going. Um, we do have to talk about the elephant in the room of this whole thing because I mentioned earlier in the program that Mike is still jumping for joy and like the inner child from, first of all, how are you feeling, bro? Because you've been texting me.
Oh,
I've
man.
been texting you. I've been texting John back and forth throughout this whole series. And the second with the game 7, I thought of John, I thought of you, and I thought their heart rates must be through the effing roof right now. And to say that, Seattle fans would love to argue and complain and blah 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 because Clay Bennett is a what, but the fact of the matter is that Thunder fans have stuck through this team through and through since the bad times, and even when all the BS was going on with Paul George, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Serge Ibaka, like all those guys.
Kevin Durant leaving in 2016.
Chris Paul. Yeah, Kevin Durant leaving in 2016. Chris Paul, that Chris Paul year.
Yep.
Like the fan base has always been loyal. And last night, as we're recording, they have finally been rewarded. It took them a bit. It took them 7 games.
Yep.
It took them 7 games. It took them 7 games and 4 really hard fought series.
Yep.
But they finally have technically their first NBA title in franchise history. Wow. Mike, dude.
I got one question for the people out there listening. Are you ready for this, Dan? Are you ready for this?
Oh boy, where's the sound when I need it the most?
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
So yes, OKC reigns supreme. The 2025 NBA champion Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm shocked you didn't go streaking last night.
Nobody wanted to see that. I can guarantee you nobody wanted to see that one. Not even nobody seen that one.
I had to. It was right there. It was right there for the taking, Mike. It was right there. Dude, how you feeling, man? How are you feeling since last night?
Well, no, before I ask my question to the country, I'm feeling great. I mean, you look at the little history lesson real quick. I mean, to the city, when you grew up here, growing up the majority of years I have in Oklahoma City, it's more personal than it was just as a fan base and from a fan standpoint. Because, I mean, you look like in the mid-'90s when the NFL was here that's when they were going through the expansion with Carolina and Jacksonville, and eventually we lost our chance to Indianapolis, and that's perfectly fine. But they got here, but there was no vision. There was nothing. Downtown was dead. There was nothing downtown. Fast forward to nearly 5, 6, 7 years down the road, the formation of the MAPS projects and the new ballpark and the Bricktown Canal, and then everything piece to piece to piece to piece to piece, of course, in 95 with the bombing and so on and so forth. And so from a just a resident in itself, this was meaningful. So it was. I mean, I feel great. It's still surreal. It doesn't feel like, because when you think of Oklahoma City, we're not thinking of NBA champions. Maybe a team that went to the Western Conference semifinals, or maybe a conference finals again, or whatever the case might be. But to sit here and say the Oklahoma City Thunder NBA champions, I mean, of course, I'm ecstatic. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I just got done purchasing, my stuff, and so it's coming. But
as you should.
No, it is surreal. I'll be down there tomorrow with the fam, for the exception of my dad and mom. But down there with the fam, parading it. We're expecting 500,000 people is what we're expecting.
Wow.
And who knows? We may crack that million. Who knows? Don't know where anybody's going to park at, but we're going to be down there. But 500,000 people is
party bus.
half a
Booze
million people
Cruise.
expecting. We may see horses. We may see tents. You never know down there.
Oh
But
boy.
no, jokes aside, no, dude, it's an amazing feeling. It's a you have OU, OSU, Oklahoma State for people that wonder what OU, OSU was. The Thunder combined, the Thunder, we all can join together. And I think last night was a state win. It was a city win. And, it's this, every store in this state, I'll put it this way, in the metro area right now, completely packed, trying to get merch, because it's that meaningful to us right now. And so when I rank them with the favorite teams, the Devils, the Yankees, the Broncos, and now the Thunder, this would be number one, and it's going to be for until the day I pass on. And so, just because it's more meaningful being literally in OKC, spending Game 7 with the fam, and witnessing history. However, on that note, we are going to repeat, just so you guys know. I got one question for you, Dan, but as a specific certain people I want to direct this to.
Oh boy.
Are you ready? Are you ready for this, guys?
Oh boy. No copyright sound?
No.
Thank God.
No. Seattle, are you mad?
Oh my God.
I just want to know, are they mad? I want to know what they're feeling.
Oh boy.
How's Seattle holding up?
Oh, they're hard. They're Jesus. So Jackson Bevins, who has been on the show twice, is a Seahawks writer. He's a Seahawks writer, podcaster, the whole nine yards. Great dude. Genuinely great guy. If you want to go reach out to him, he's a fantastic get for your show, Mike.
Nice.
He was pissed. He was pissed. And I don't blame him, though, because the Sonics were ripped from their city. I don't blame them for being pissed. This also screams, hey, Adam Silver, get the expansion thing going, because you have a rivalry right there, spoon-fed for you, on a silver platter between the Thunder and the Sonics, right there. It is right there. But we got to wait for it in a couple years.
Yeah, no, I mean, I got nothing mad at Seattle. I know it was a business even from Clay Bennett's standpoint. I mean, it's obviously going to be one of the saltiest, but I still want to know if they're mad or not. But I mean, from the different side standpoint is Seattle absolutely deserves a franchise back.
Oh yeah, that's a basketball town, big time.
Oh, by far. Let's get Seattle Supersonics back. Let's retire Gary Payton's number 20. Oklahoma City won't do it because he never played a minute on the court with us. And respectfully, I accept that, and both sides do. And let's get Seattle. Can you imagine the Thunder going to? It won't be Key Arena, but whatever arena that they got going on up there.
Climate Pledge, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it'd be beautiful.
Same when they come down here for Paycom. So
be beautiful.
I mean,
be a gorgeous thing.
I'm for it, but no, I mean it's a great feeling. I've now seen all of my 4. I don't really care much for soccer, but the 4 major professional sports, I've seen them all win, and this one is the most sweetest, and it's going to be, and I'm going to enjoy this moment because this is it's an amazing feeling, and I just want to know Seattle's mad. That's all I want to know.
I just want the Islanders to win a Stanley Cup in my lifetime, and I will be happy. I don't care about anything else. I got my Super Bowl. I've seen 3 Super Bowl appearances in my lifetime. I've seen 1 championship, should be 2, but whatever. All I want before I die is an Islander Stanley Cup. That's all I want. If I see 1 in my lifetime, that's all I care about. And my fiance knows this well, and she's a Ranger fan, and she knows this. She'll ask me every now and then. She'll go like, what do you want, as an Islander fan? Like, is this a trick question? Like, Jesus. Yeah. I want the Stanley Cup, for God's sakes. Boy. We do need to talk about one of your former all-time greats in OKC. So, there was a massive trade that happened. I don't know if you call it massive, but it's sort of like a Houston, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So, if you haven't heard, the Houston Rockets have traded the 10th pick in the 2025 NBA draft 5 second rounders. He's a forward, right? Jalen Green. 2 forwards in Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks to the Phoenix Suns for Kevin Durant. Really? This is what you're going to do. Houston, this is what you're going to do after you just won, 50-something games?
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 seed in the West.
Yep.
Number 2 seed, okay? You have a really good coach in Ime Udoka.
Mm-hmm.
Really good coach. That man can coach. Don't understand why he was fired from the Celtics. I don't know. Don't care. Not my team.
Right.
How is it that your thought of, hey, we're gonna go all in for an NBA title is Kevin Durant? I'm not questioning Kevin Durant, the player. Mike, I think you can attest to this as well. We are questioning Kevin Durant, the diva.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know as well as I do, that Kevin Durant, as great of a player he is, comes with baggage. And a whole lot of it. So much so I tweeted the following. Congratulations, Rockets fans. You are now the latest victim of the Kevin Durant Diva Cruise.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy, drink responsibly, and all escape doors will be boarded off. Have fun. It's a Diva Cruise. That's all he is. He's a great player. He's top 10 in scoring. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. No questions asked about that. But at the same point, like, I hate to bring up PTSD, but, like, you were right there as a member of the Thunder. Mm-hmm. You had the 73-win Warriors by your fingertips.
Mm-hmm.
And you decide, I'm going to go play with that team.
Yep.
That still stings 10 years later. I do not blame you.
No, I mean, he every time he doesn't matter who he plays for, we boo him in Paycom Center when he shows up.
Don't blame him.
No, I mean, it's one of those things. Yeah, we now won a championship, but you mean, and probably today, if you ask about Kevin Durant, nobody's probably going to give a rat's for him just because the fact that we are champions, and we're not going to worry about that. But at the end of the time, at the end of the day, it's like we were up 3-1, lost. We get the rest is history. He jumps ship and joins the Golden State Warriors. But from this standpoint, from a Houston standpoint, now fast forward almost a decade later, I don't understand why you would give up Green. I don't understand.
Really good.
Phenomenal.
Who's really good.
Young. He's more healthier than KD. KD can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
Really at all. He's just like Russ. I mean, he's on his downhill slope on into his final playing days. Now, gets to go join James Harden again. Woo, wow.
Okay. But the difference here with Russ and Kevin Durant is that Russ has acknowledged 10 years later, he's a role player.
Yeah, he's a bench player.
He's a great bench player now. He's great off the bench.
Yep.
Don't believe me? The Denver Nuggets pushed you guys to 7.
Yep. And probably should have won that series.
Probably, but but who cares?
No.
Who cares? It's fine. Past is the past.
Yep.
But you trade Jalen Green, who's phenomenal, who's a good scorer, better defender.
Yep.
And Dylan Brooks, who's an agitator, great defender, can kind of score, but can barely score to save his life, but is a better defender than people give him credit to. And the 10th pick? Really? Who's the GM of the Rockets? Who's the GM of the Rockets? Someone Google that for me, please.
I got you.
I love how I say someone Google that for me. It's like you're the only one that's here in this room. The only other person here in this room is you, and along with myself.
Rockets.
Jeez. Because it's not Daryl Morey, right? It's not Daryl Morey anymore, right?
No,
Because he's
Raphael
with Philly.
Stone.
Who is it?
Raphael Stone.
Okay, so Raphael Stone. Not only did you trade the 10th pick and 5 second, and that's the other thing, 5 second-round picks. Oh,
And I get in the NBA second round is equivalent to an extent of a third day NFL pick. I get that, but there's like a lot of good second rounders out there that
Caruso.
Absolutely. I was about to say
Jalen
that.
Brunson was a second-round pick. Like, you can find some gems in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
But, oh, boy. And, Rocket fans are like, oh, we got Kevin Durant. Like, good luck. Good freaking luck, boys. Good luck. Because Kevin Durant comes with baggage. Yep. And as great of a player he is not the same player that he was with the Thunder, and especially with Golden State. He's nowhere close. Nowhere close. He may average 28. He may still get to that. But as a defender, long past that. Long past that. And, you're starting to see a shift in the NBA dynamic of, hey, it's no longer about, hey, who's the first to score to 130. You are the perfect example, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Mm-hmm. That defense was suffocating.
Yep.
Suffocating in the second half. And it didn't help that Tyrese Haliburton tore his Achilles, but whatever.
No, and I felt bad for Tyrese. I mean, not going to say, that I mean, obviously that was a difference maker. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, it was a difference. Yeah. Changed the game.
Whether or not that would have made a difference if they would have won, we don't know that. We can't predict that, but it definitely, I think the score would have been closer. Maybe not have. Who knows? I mean, who knows? But that was definitely a difference maker.
But the point is, you're starting to see a change in the dynamic of, hey, we're starting to see more defense be added to the NBA now, which is, as old school fans like ourselves, fantastic to see.
Correct.
Fantastic to see. Even John was like, this is a chippy series, and I love it.
Oh, it was a great series.
It was great. It was fantastic.
Yes.
And like the ratings were, screw the ratings. It was a great series.
And I get it's too small market,
who cares?
I get that.
Who cares?
But it's about time you got two small markets in the finals. It's about time because, I mean, me personally, I know you can't control. Well, that's another topic. I know you, for the most part, you can't control who gets the championship series, but two small market franchises, I was down for. And honestly, this is probably the best basketball I've seen played all year.
Oh, in a long time.
Finals.
In a long time.
And another thing, Dan, is Sam Presti built this team on depth and this team on speed. And especially defense. But as we see, Kevin Durant's not going to do that for Houston. James Harden, I don't think he understands what defense even is.
Where is James Harden now?
Is he in Houston still, or is he not?
No, he's in the Clippers, I think. Give me a second.
Is he?
Here. I'm looking at.
I don't even know.
Give me a second.
Complete count where he's at.
Hold. He is with the Clippers. He's with Los Angeles. He's with the Clippers now. Jesus. I don't blame you. I don't blame you if he went back to the Rockets. That'd been funny.
Maybe KD will get him back there. I don't know.
Please.
Those two didn't drive in Oklahoma City, but to each his own.
The greatest what if in NBA history, the 2012 Thunder.
Yep.
The Big Three Thunder.
I still believe we will have a 30 for 30 series on that.
The greatest what if in NBA history.
Yep.
Yeah.
The what could have, should have, and would have, should have.
Could have, should have, would have. Yep. I don't blame you. Have you been watching a lot of baseball recently?
Yeah, I actually have, surprisingly.
I haven't been watching a lot of Yankees baseball because, I'm not going to lie, and this leads into the next topic here because I haven't been turned off by baseball, but I've been sort of turned off by New York baseball because you're in Oklahoma. You're not here.
Right.
You're not here. You don't listen to New York sports talk radio, which is a cesspool of stupid. And I've been listening to a lot of Seattle sports radio and stuff like that, and the Mariners and stuff like that, and there's a whole rabbit hole of small market baseball can go down about the Mariners and their ownership group because, good Lord, John Stanton, screw you. But
at least he's like the Colorado Rockies.
Oh boy, it's because I am slowly getting into the Mariners a lot more.
Nice.
Because it's like I can't watch Yankees baseball without me losing my mind about how Aaron Judge is still a great player.
Oh yeah.
No, but the rest of the team is hot bleeping garbage.
Stanton needs either restructure his contract or he needs to go.
Not even just that. It's not even just that part. It's Aaron Judge and everyone else. That's it. And for the Yankee fans that are like, "Oh, we didn't eat one," so it's like, you're right, you didn't need him because he's what, batting .250 with the Mets over in Queens. Yeah. He's $51 million a year DH, but that's a rabbit hole we can go down in our time. But the point that I was going to is like the Mariners from a new fan perspective, and I've been getting into the Mariners a lot more, and you know me as better than anyone. I'm a Seahawks fan and stuff like that. I have the tattoo to prove it. And the Kraken, I'm watching them too when they're on and stuff like that. Thank you, ESPN Plus. But it almost seems like from looking at the Mariners top to bottom, it's very easy to blame the manager. It's very easy to blame Jerry DiPoto, the team president, and Justin Hollander, the general manager. A lot of the Mariners' issues is a baseball-wide issue, and that is the owners do not want to spend money.
No.
They don't. And what's another example? Speaking of Giancarlo Stanton, the Miami Marlins. How many times if we can go down a rabbit? There's a theme of this show called rabbit holes, and of this show is brought to you by the letter Q for questioning my life decisions. Anyway, so but the Marlins are a perfect example. Yeah, you can say they have 2 world titles in their franchise history. But the fact of the matter is how consistent has that team been garbage? Good Lord.
If it wasn't for the new ballpark, I would say relocate them and give them another chance somewhere.
Oh, they're going to relocate.
Oh, I think they will eventually. I still think Tampa Bay will eventually.
Tampa's going to relocate because, yeah, they got 2 world titles. But if ownership genuinely gave a crap about baseball in that market, and that is a huge baseball market.
Yes.
If you know anything about South Beach, Miami, you know that is Cuban galore. They love baseball down there. They love it, but the owners do not care.
Well, no, and it shows in the seats,
in the attendance records. Yeah, in the attendance, it's terrible. And I ask you this question because I think we've talked about this before about the whole salary cap thing with baseball. Do you think that it's eventually going to happen? If not a salary cap, then at least a salary floor.
I think it's my personal thing. I think it's going to. Now, when, I don't know. I think it needs to. And I'm not saying that because the Yankees keep losing out on the Dodgers. That has nothing to do with anything.
No, Dodgers, Yankees, Red Sox, the Mets, leave the big 4 spenders completely out of this.
Yeah, I mean, we all know they're going to spend it regardless. So it is what it is on that.
This is a baseball-wide issue.
That's always been the issue for years and upon years. But I think the league's going to have to do something because, I mean, my thing is this. Now, I'm not saying, you look at the Marlins, you look at the Rays, you look at Colorado.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh isn't really flashy this year. So I mean, you look at some of these markets now, they just bad. But going back to Miami, the Dominican Republic is a baseball country galore.
Horrible, big time.
Baseball
Big
country
time.
galore. And to sit here and to know that South Beach, Miami is playing some pretty bad juju baseball, and
Yep.
it shows proof in the stands.
Yep.
I think they're going to have a cap and have. We need to start seeing. I'm not saying Colorado's going to win the World Series if we do this. I'm not saying that, or Pittsburgh, or Miami, or Tampa, or
the Mariners,
or the Mariners. Yeah, Oakland or Las Vegas eventually, but which is still weird saying that. But
see, that's the thing. See, you mentioned Vegas.
Mhm.
The Athletics going to Vegas
Right.
in 2027.
Correct.
I think that's eventually going to be when
Mhm.
when the Athletics do eventually have their new stadium built in downtown Las Vegas,
Right.
on the Strip.
Mhm.
Then the salary cap discussions will happen.
You're going to have to.
I
think eventually they're going to have. I think eventually, if you really want competitive baseball, you're going to have to.
And especially if rumors of expansion coming, particularly with like when COVID was going around, when the Blue Jays had to basically get evicted from Canada and go play in Buffalo. You're telling me you can't have a good team? You're telling me you can't have a team in Buffalo? You're telling me you can't have a team in Buffalo? You're serious, right?
Well, what's funny is back in 2006, I was a senior. 2006, the Marlins was mentioned about being relocated to here in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, there's another one, Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
There's another one.
Now,
down in Norman. Norman would be a perfect area for baseball. Well, probably not Norman because, OU and stuff like that.
Right.
But, like, Oklahoma City would be perfect for an expansion team. Perfect. I know there's been rumors of Portland and stuff like that. But,
Portland's always been.
Russell Wilson has been trying to get a team in Portland for, 10 years or something like that. But, good Lord. But it's... The salary cap thing has been a discussion amongst baseball fans for we don't need it, we do need it, blah, blah, blah. But the fact of the matter is teams like the Pirates, the Marlins, the Rays, the Mariners, the Reds will continue to stink.
Yep.
Stink. Generationally stink. Look at the White Sox. They're in Chicago, and they stink. Okay, the Rockies, for God's sakes, might break the loss record, which was set.
Oh yeah, because right now they're at 18-6. I'm going off of standings right now. You're looking at the Rockies. They're already automatically. I know we're still somewhat close to the halfway mark. They're already out of contention, but they're 18-60. You're looking at the Rockies.
130 losses potentially. Yeah.
You look at the Pirates; they're 16 back. The Reds, let's just be honest, they're not.
The Orioles,
Baltimore, which I'm not going to lie, I really thought
I was shocked by the Orioles.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. The Nationals haven't really been that great. Oftentimes, Marlins is just whatever.
The Baltimore.
Boston's going through a rough span, but they'll be
Cincinnati is another one that I looked at the Reds and I was like, you can be good. You have potential. You really do. But then their ownership does not care.
No,
which is a recurring theme of ownership in baseball, with the exception of the Guggenheim Group and the Dodgers and the Fenway Group of the Red Sox. But even then, that's a toss up with the Red Sox nowadays. But Steve Cohen with the Mets, the Steinbrenner family with the Yankees, the Steinbrenner family with the Yankees. For majority of those four ownership groups are the only baseball owners that genuinely give a crap about the teams. Genuinely give a crap. The rest of them do not care. Artie Loreno with the Angels, thank God he spends money, but it's in the wrong places. Moral of the story is, if you want to make a lot of money quick, become a baseball owner. May get you somewhere. With that being said, Mike, we have to pay the bills, unfortunately, because as we have known over the years, this show ain't free. So we shall return, ladies and gentlemen. This show ain't free. So time for some ads.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at Belly Up Sports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, but you can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Use the promo code BellyUpSports in all caps at SeatGeek.com or the SeatGeek app to get $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek.com. And get some cool stuff. Get some tickets, comedy shows, baseball. Maybe you're a sicko that wants to watch the Marlins. Or you're in Pittsburgh and want to watch Paul Skeens and his delightful mustache pitch it out in Pittsburgh with a great view of the skyline in Pittsburgh. That is a great city. That's a great stadium,
dude. That's the view of that. I've never been over there. Maybe one day, Lord willing.
One day, one can dream. It's just 8-hour drive from here where I am. It's like 8 hours.
Oh yeah.
I'm still not doing it because I don't want to drive through Amish country, PA.
Now, who was the center fielder? Did you see that? Speaking of Pittsburgh, who was the center fielder that did the piss poor non-dive for the ball and he just stopped and let the ball?
Oh, I don't know.
And did you see that?
I did not, but I will look at it down the road.
He should be demoted to AA.
Jeez. Anyway, use the promo code Belly Up Sports in all caps to get $20 off first purchase at SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Thanks to our friends at SeatGeek for sponsoring this podcast and Belly Up Sports and Belly Up Media. Mike, we have a little bit of wrestling to get to, and you are not familiar with this segment, but it is unfortunately, I'm checking my imaginary watch right here to quote our friends at No Credentials Required. What time is it, Mike? Why? It is time. It is ring time.
I like that.
You like that, don't you?
I like that.
It is ring time, our weekly wrestling discussion here on Time to BS podcast, dedicated to all things wrestling, TNA, or WWE, WCW, the history of professional wrestling and stuff like that. AEW if you're into that stuff, whatever. But we'll cross that bridge down the road. There is a weird discussion going on Twitter about the whole Night of Champions, PLE, and stuff like that. And obviously, we'll keep political things aside.
Yeah, we won't talk that
because that's a cesspool. That's a cesspool of stupid we don't need to go down. But there's been a weird debate going on wrestling Twitter about should World Wrestling Entertainment, let's just call it the World Wrestling Federation for 90s purposes, should WWE move/cancel Night of Champions? Now, if you haven't heard, there's a lot of stuff going on in the Middle East right now. We're obviously not going to talk about it because that's a cesspool. And for multiple reasons. Night of Champions is in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Riyadh. I believe that's how you pronounce that city. And it's a big PLE because there's a lot of money involved in those PLEs in Saudi Arabia.
Million.
Lot of money. Lot of money. I don't think they're going to cancel it because, as you just mentioned, too much money is on the table here.
Yep.
Too much money. That's like the equivalent of saying, "Hey, we're gonna take $20 and just cash it into pennies." That's a bad example of a reference, but you know what I'm trying to say here.
Right.
It's like, why would you cancel it? Because now it has since come out that, there's a ceasefire going on and everything, which is, great for the world and everything because, whatever. But it's, again, cesspool, not going down that. You're not going to cancel this, right? You're not going to move it because it's too much to move. It's 5 days away.
No, I personally wouldn't. And I know people are like, well, and we're not going to get into all the details. If you've been following the news, you know what's going on. But my thing is this: I think you're going to have to keep it, Dan. I mean, because one, you're less than a week away. Two, TKO is $3 billion in debt. I forgot the exact number.
Something like that.
Yeah, they're drastically in debt, and it's mainly because they, bought UFC, but WWE's doing okay, but they're kind of struggling with what they're going. But
hold on, to cut you off there, and yeah, they're struggling because the expectations are from you're trying to build off WrestleMania 40 and 39, which is you can make a very good argument that those were two of the top 10 WrestleManias ever.
Oh, absolutely.
Ever. Because of the seismic magnitude of everything that happened between the 1,300-day reign of Roman Reigns, Cody dethroning said reign, Sami Zayn dethroning Gunther, the tag team titles on the line multiple times, the undisputed tag titles in 39, great match. The world heavyweight title between Rollins and McIntyre, blah, 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 the storybooks, the great matches, everything going on was... You're trying to build off of that, which is... And this is a big problem that I have with the wrestling fan base, because their expectations are way up to here when they should be in the middle.
Oh, absolutely.
In the middle. Or if you're rational folk like you and I are, there's somewhere down here.
Here and there.
There's somewhere down there because, you and I have seen 2010's WWE and good Lord. And people are saying Triple H is the worst booker in the world. I'm like,
no.
Jim Hurt existed, by the way. It's just Eric Bischoff, Kevin Nash, like, good Lord.
Vince Russo.
He was a writer, but whatever. But the point exactly. It's like you're not gonna, from a business perspective, I get both sides because world news and everything. But at the same point, there's way too much money on the table. Way too much freaking money on this table here.
My thing is with TKO, WWE, whoever makes that final call, then you look at what they probably, I hope they are anyway, is talking with the administration from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Hey, what are we looking like? What from a safety standpoint? What are we looking like from a X, Y, and Z standpoint?
Yep.
But at this point, they're going to have to pull the trigger. I think they're going to have to keep it as is and pray that pray to whoever's higher belief that they believe in and that they're safe. I mean, but it's I think you got. I mean, money talks, as they say, and I think this one they're going to have to pull and keep it as is, and we'll just hope for the best.
And say what you want about religious and world differences completely aside. The thing that everyone out there in the Middle East knows how to do is business. They know how to execute business, and this, from top to bottom, is a business transaction.
Yep.
If you know anything about business, that what happens in business usually stays in business. Nothing else outside of that matters.
No, I trust the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia will do a phenomenal job making sure that their country is safe. The X amount of hours is going to be utilized, and until everybody can vacate, and then we'll move on back to the United States. So, no, I say keep it. and hope for the best. But that 50 mil is a lot of money. They can't afford to lose it.
No, they cannot. I mean, no, they can't. Did you see SmackDown this past Friday?
I'm not gonna lie, I did not, but I did watch the highlights.
So, did you see the pipe bomb?
I sure did. What was it, 13, 14 years ago when CM Punk did the pipe bomb? Almost equivalent to the same date, I believe.
So, if you haven't heard, or if you've lived under a rock, John Cena has turned heel. If you are an old school fan of the wrestling business, you will know that this was next to impossible of happening 15 years ago. 10 years ago, even.
No.
Next to impossible. Unfathomable to happen. Since then, the heel run has been sort of a dud. Mixed feelings about it, whatever.
Yeah, it's not going nowhere.
Blame The Rock, for God's sakes, because
I don't
wanted on this.
Yeah, I don't understand. I'm not to cut you off. I don't understand why we did this, and The Rock is non-existent. But anyway.
Yeah, how do you execute the heel turn? You're not involved in this heel turn in any way, shape, or form. Don't know, don't care. It is what it is.
Yep.
But regardless, Cena basically pulled his own version of the pipe bomb, and I was like, "This is great."
I love it.
I loved every second of it.
Because
every second of it.
It kind of got us, well, to me anyway. Kind of got me the John Cena that we know mixed with the somewhat of a heel, and I mean I liked it. I enjoyed it.
If you're I'm pretty sure Jim Cornette, who we are a fan of.
Oh yes,
I'm pretty sure Corny was loving it because he's a Cena guy. He's a Cena guy. He's not a big Cena fan in terms of his working ability, but in terms of his promo ability, he's a huge fan of Cena. I watched this promo from start to finish and was like, something tells me they're going to book Punk to win the belt, and that would make SummerSlam very interesting. But at the same point, Punk's too big of a star to have, his first title run in 15 years in WWE be at Night of Champions. I'm just saying. SummerSlam's a bigger PLE.
Where's SummerSlam at this year?
New Jersey.
That's right. Cardi B.
Yeah. I don't mind her music. At the time.
Yeah,
she's okay. She looks good, but she's okay. But it's from
yeah.
The pipe bomb was fantastic.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
Did you? What else? What else do you want to talk about before we move on? Because we do have a lawsuit to get to.
Real quick, let's say CM Punk wins, where do we see the storyline with Punk?
That's the thing.
Seth.
That's the thing.
Cashing in. With Seth cashed in on
probably
CM?
Seth cashes in or Roman interferes.
Ooh.
That would be the only realistic way this would make sense.
Ooh.
So the only realistic way this makes sense is if Seth cashes in or attempts to cash in and Roman interferes. That's the only considerable way this goes down. We have some AEW news to get to. Because are you familiar with a lawsuit that's been going around? I can tell by your look that you are familiar with this lawsuit.
I've heard bits and pieces, so yes, I'm aware.
So I have the article. It is from Sports Illustrated. Where is it? There you are. It is from John Alba of Sports Illustrated. AEW and Jon Moxley, current world champion, sued for negligence, civil assault, and battery by production crew member. I can't read tiny writing because I am blind as a bat.
Don't feel too bad, so am I.
I'm on it. Got it. A production crew member who has worked with All Elite Wrestling since 2019 has filed a civil lawsuit against the company and AEW World Champion Jon Moxley, Jonathan Good. In it, he alleges various degree of negligence by AEW and Moxley alongside civil assault and battery against Moxley concerning an incident on AEW Dynamite in 2023. The lawsuit was filed against the parties on May 30th in the Wayne County Circuit Court by Christopher Dispenza, a longtime wrestling and entertainment production crew member who has started doing contract work with AEW in 2019. Dispenza, a not direct employee of AEW, and provided services to Broadcast Service Group, which supplies crews for AEW. His legal team, Rate Law PLLC, told the takedown on SI, he has not done work with AEW since December 5th, 2024, and I can't read, and was demoted by Broadcast Service Group to the role of carpenter. I'm not gonna lie, that's not a downgrade.
No.
If you're any familiar with the blue collar industry, that's not a downgrade at all.
No.
Without explanation. As of Monday morning, it is not yet received a response to the filing for the promotion. Dispenza said the injuries occurred on the May 10th, 23 episode of AEW Dynamite in Detroit, Michigan. There, Moxley faced Omega in a steel cage match, which ended up spilling to the outside. Moxley went to grab a screwdriver to use on Omega, and in doing so, shoved Dispenza to the ground. The lawsuit claims Moxley was supposed to only grab the screwdriver, and Dispenza took an unplanned fall as a result of being shoved. His legal team alleges this as an example of civil assault and battery. Anyway, I'll keep my thoughts to myself in a second. Jesus. Just claiming that in the allegedly deviating from the script, Moxley either showed intent to harm Dispenza or at a minimum complete disregard for whether harm was a result. Now, you and I have not gone to wrestling school, right?
No.
Okay, so
No.
I guarantee you this guy has never gone to wrestling school or has never really gone to production of professional wrestling or understands the point of selling. This is a crap job. And I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm on the side of Moxley here. Because if I'm Mox, I'm throwing my arms in the air and just going, what the hell, guys? Like, I just pushed a dude.
Mm-hmm.
Dispenza claims he suffered severe neck and shoulder injuries as a result of being shoved to the ground unexpectedly. How heavy was this guy? It's just unexpectedly.
I was about to ask that. How big is this guy? Do we know?
This guy is either not in shape or is a shape.
His body's fragile, apparently.
Took you a second to get that joke, did it? Unexpectedly by Moxley during a match with Kenny Omega, Dispenza alleges in the lawsuit that the incident resulted in him requiring cervical fusion surgery, shoulder surgery, and treatment for other unspecified injuries. I can't read, apparently.
How old is this guy? 70s?
What?
Look, here's the deal. I'm with Moxley. I don't on his side.
I can't believe I'm defending him.
No, and I mean, here's the deal. In stuff like that, there's a script. We all know wrestling script. If you don't know that, sorry to bust your bubble. But wrestling scripted out.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Exactly, for real. When Mick Foley's going through the Hell in the Cell with the thumbtacks on the ground, still real.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Still real. But I mean, nah. Here's the deal. It's a part of the heat of the moment. Moxley, I sense Moxley probably has a short temper, regardless if it's scripted or not.
Oh.
He got in the way, and unfortunately, big boy got a boo-boo, and that's that.
Go to Weenie Hut in general.
I mean, next time, get out of the way, dude. How about that? I'm sorry you had surgery, apparently, but
oh my god,
here's the deal. Just
he's slipped an ice cube. Jesus.
I mean, I'm sorry he's hurt, but
we're not making fun of your injuries, dude. We're making fun of the situation. It's funny. It's funny.
A screwdriver, like really?
Really? And listen, I could defend Mox if this were in the 90s. If this were 90s and Mox was in ECW, thrive. Book that man to win like 7 world titles in ECW. Abso-freaking-lutely. In terms of garbage wrestling, in terms of, the ECW is great in the 90s and this, and it has been since been reintroduced to the fans multiple times over and has since been reintroduced as terrible as garbage. We could go down the rabbit hole of TNA and WCW and Ring of Honor and, Major League Wrestling and stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is, like, the golden age of professional wrestling, the last true golden age of professional wrestling was the 90s to the early 2000s.
Yep.
Which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. But, like, Mox and AEW has got to have a great legal team because Punk has not said anything.
No. Mm-mm.
Which is hilarious to me. But
and for Punk not to say anything, they got him on trap.
He don't give a crap either.
No,
he does not.
No. And I do not think that's scripted. I think that is actually CM Punk.
That's a dude who I would love to get on here. Would be like just to tell stories. Either him or Mick Foley. Mick would be fun.
Mick would be one. I think the Undertaker would be one.
I think Foley would be able to tell more stories.
Foley, I think, would not care either.
Foley would give a crap. I mean, I would have.
I think Bret Hart would be one.
Bret Hart would be fun. Bret Hart would be a lot of fun.
Because I really believe he does not like Vince.
No, he doesn't like Vince at all.
So I could see him like just going off.
The Montreal screw job.
Yes.
Perfect example. Jesus. Yep. Good Lord. We could go off tangents about the history of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
And for those wrestling fans, yes, it's not just the WWE or AEW or TNA. If you want to go back to the territory days for the old NWA, back in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, with Ric Flair, the Von Erichs, Harley Race, Bruno Sammartino, it's like it goes way back.
Well, I mean, I can even go way back. I watched a few of it. I'm not that old, but watching me here in Oklahoma City was a big thing. It's Mid-South Wrestling. So, I mean...
Oh, yeah. Mid-South was huge back then. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's got history, but, yeah, those, I would agree. I think the 90s into mid-2000s, I think, was the best.
Did you watch Smoky Mountain?
Mm-hmm.
Cornette was the lead booker, was the head booker of that promotion, of that territory back in the day.
I read that was very interesting.
That
caught my attention. I believe so. Yes,
it was around the Louisville area. Yeah, jeez.
Yep.
People forget that like professional wrestling isn't just like, a big brother being WWE, little brother being everyone else. It's like, if you want to go back to the history of professional wrestling, you gotta like find a wrestling historian that knows his stuff. Dutch Mantel, perfect example. Cornette, we may disagree with a couple things Cornette says, but whatever. The man knows his stuff. You want to quiz him on anything professional wrestling from 1950 going forward, he's got you. I'm pretty sure he's got his. You've seen the Dark Side of the Ring, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
He has a whole room in his house. The Vault of Castle Cornette. And it's got everything from the inception back in the 50s. Even Mexico, Lucha Libre. Yep. Jesus.
Yep.
Good. I mean, it's so deep that I wish we had a big-time wrestling historian on here that could just... quiz us on that stuff. And the NWA was huge. Like, Jesus. If you've watched the Iron Claw, you at least know of the Von Erich story. The Von Erichs was your territory, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was you guys.
Mm-hmm.
That was like Oklahoma, Texas, that area.
Yep. Yeah, that was Oklahoma, Texas. And, and I bet Jim Cornette could even give us more detail like I would love to know more about Chris Benoit. I think there's stuff we do not know that I bet he knows.
Chris Benoit,
Night that he
he did what he did.
killed,
Yeah.
yes.
So PG, but
yeah, we're not gonna go.
to quote Road Dogg Jesse James, this is a family show now. So it's
That and yeah,
it's well,
bad.
but it's Chris Benoit at the time was Bryan Danielson before Bryan Danielson was great.
Easily, yes.
Easily. And he was strong. He was so strong off his upper body. And one of my favorite tapes to watch was the main event of WrestleMania 20 with Chris Benoit, the World Heavyweight Champion, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels. That should not have been a triple threat match, but it was supposed to. It was a triple threat match between those three, and it was fantastic. It was so good. And you saw Chris Benoit finally win the world title that he so desperately coveted over his 20-plus year career. And, it was great. But, and then if you're a fan of Ring of Honor, if you're a fan of like those type of promotions, the TNA.
Yep.
TNA is 23 years old. Unbelievable. And I wish that Ring of Honor was where TNA is now. Which is a shame. Because Ring of Honor produced a lot of greats. Kyle O'Reilly. Roderick Strong. Adam Cole. CM Punk, Samoa Joe, and Bryan Danielson. They produced a lot of Hall of Famers. A lot of the Briscoe brothers. You can make a very good argument that the Briscoe brothers are a top 5 tag team ever.
Who would be a top 5?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's a lot easier to make a Mount Rushmore than a top 5 or a top 10.
Oh, absolutely.
In terms of the Mount Rushmore, jeez.
Oh, would Legion of Doom be up there?
LOD would be up there. They'd be in my top 5 or top 10. They're definitely my top 10. Are we going WWE?
I was going to say, where are we going first?
Are we going the whole thing? Or are we going the territories included as well?
I think
because if the territories are on this list, then the Rock and Roll Express is on that list.
I was going to say, that's what I was about to ask. Because the
Rock and Roll Express is definitely on this list. The Von Erichs.
Would you put the Outsiders? Top 10, but
yeah, probably. Yeah,
there's a
lot of great tag teams. There's a lot of great tag teams back in the day. Oh, jeez, the Hardy Boys. It's a lot harder to make a top.
I would even throw the Steiner brothers up there.
Steiners are on there. Dudleys are on there.
Oh.
Edge and Christian would be on there if they had another run together before the injuries caught up to them.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah,
Edge was a lot better as a solo star though, as a singles star. Way better. It's unfortunate because he's one of the all-time greats as a tag team with him and Christian.
Heart Foundation, would you
Heart Foundation's on there. Heart Foundation's on top 10. Easy. You can't put the Brothers of Destruction on there because the Undertaker was so good on his own.
Yes, I'd rather have him by solo than tagged up.
I will tell you this is a lot easier to make a Mount Rushmore of singles than it is tag teams. It's way easier. Flair, Undertaker, Hogan, Stone Cold. Flair obviously lasted a lot.
Yeah.
Flair was huge. People forget Ric Flair back in the 80s and the 90s was huge. Like he was the guy next to Hogan. And Hogan's on there because without him the 80s boom does not happen.
No, and you got to throw Hogan out there too because he's really what made he changed wrestling when he went heel
Yeah.
in NWO.
Not even in '84, in the '80s when he left the
Right.
AEWA and went to WWF and became a star there.
Oh, phenomenal!
And people are wondering, like, oh, why is Stone Cold on there? The biggest reason why Stone Cold is on this list is because he led the resurgence of professional wrestling in the '90s. Wrestling was dead. Wrestling was dead in the '90s. Dead in the water.
And I would even go out and just say, on top of that, he came back from his neck surgery. What was it, 99?
99, 2000, yeah.
Yeah. When Owen Hart, so was a pile driver. So, I mean, I would say Stone Cold Death would be up there.
Who would be fourth? Because I have Taker on there for the longevity factor. And the fact that
I still think it's a mess up they made him lose in WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's a big one.
But I still you got to include him up there though.
Ooh, I can give you a top 10 of women probably easily.
Trish would be up there.
Trish is up there. Trish, Lita, Mickey are on there.
Tori Wilson.
I can make a very good argument for Becky Lynch being number one.
No way.
I can make a very good argument. I can tell you why. Okay. Becky Lynch is 1/3 of the first women's main event in WrestleMania history.
True.
She is a 7 or 8-time women's champion, and she helped lead the women's evolution. At the time, women's professional wrestling was not. It was frowned upon.
Right.
At that particular time. Like in pre-2014, it was frowned upon. And then you had like AJ Lee, you had Lita, you had Trish, you had them back in the day. But like Becky helped lead the boom of women's professional wrestling. You can make I'm not saying she should be number one, but she has a great case. She got a great case. Charlotte's on there. Charlotte is absolutely on that list.
She's on there. I'm not a huge fan of hers though, but
I'm not a huge fan of her later work, but her earlier stuff, one of the best in-ring performers I've ever seen from women's side.
You got to include China. I know she's
China's on. China should be on there because she was a trailblazer. She was a trailblazer back in the day. She really was. Jeez. Too early to put Rhea on there. It's too early to put Rhea Ripley on there.
She's got to start dominating again. She hasn't gone that route lately.
Which is fine. I don't care about that.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I don't care about that at all. Gail Kim, if you want to put TNA on there. Gail Kim in TNA was awesome.
No, she was.
She was great in TNA.
I'm trying to think.
She was the entire Knockouts division too.
This might be a touchy one. Would you put Ronda?
No.
Sabre?
Not really. I mean, it's again like there wasn't a lot of big time stars with the women's division for the last 25 years. Besides the last 25 years, there wasn't a lot of big time women's stars. There really wasn't. Jeez.
What about
Lita, Trish? Yes. Mickey? Yes. Durr.
You know, I wish Miss Elizabeth wrestled instead of just being a manager.
I wish she did too, yeah.
I would have put her up there otherwise if she had wrestled.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I just
yeah. There was a Reddit on here. There was a Sports Illustrated article on this somewhere. I'm trying to find it. There was Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Trish Stratus, Lita, Sasha Banks is on there for some reason. Asuka's on there. I can argue Asuka being on that list.
Yeah.
Because if you're a fan of her in Japan, she was scary. She was really good in Japan. Bianca, I don't know why Bianca's on here and not Rhea. I can understand Bianca being on this list. Bianca Belair. Chyna's on here. Bayley's on here. The 4 horsewomen are on here. All 4 of them are on here. No. Can you believe that Becky Lynch, if she didn't turn on Charlotte Flair and that one SummerSlam match, she would be nowhere near as popular as she was was at that time. Not even close. People forget that was a heel turn.
No, it absolutely was.
That was a heel turn. And that ended up like putting a rocket ship on her career.
Well, it boosted her to where she's at now. Now I know
the bloody nose too. That did help.
Yeah.
I think Rhea Ripley
would you put Beth Phoenix up there?
I forgot about Beth. I'm not gonna lie. Beth had too short of a career though. Beth had a really short career. She could go toe-to-toe with anyone, though. She really could. Beth Phoenix could go toe-to-toe with anyone.
I'm just trying to think of who else.
Tag teams is hard. Tag teams is a really hard one.
Yeah, I'll have to think on that one. Because
the Von Erichs are definitely... As much as people don't like them, I think the Usos should get recognition.
I think they should. Because really, I know Jimmy's career solo wise isn't really
whatever.
Yeah,
he's Matt Hardy technically. He's the Matt Hardy.
Oh, absolutely,
yeah.
But but at the same time, tag team wise, I think you got to include them up there.
The Usos definitely should be on there.
I'm trying to think of who else.
In terms of the greatest top 25 of like men's performers, you could Roman's got to go. Roman has a case.
Roman's definitely got you got to put
Roman has a case.
I know a lot of people look at the part-time thing, but you also have to understand. I'm sure his leukemia didn't help. I'm sure he don't feel the greatest sometimes either.
For the case of Roman, for the case of Roman alone is the tribal chief run.
Oh, by far,
absolutely. The tribal chief run. If you want to, if Roman's run is the tribal chief, when he initially returned in SummerSlam 2020 as the tribal chief, that run alone saved his career, saved his entire career. Because at that, thank God for Paul Heyman. I think it's easier to make a top Mount Rushmore managers. Because Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yep.
Cornette's on there.
Paul Heyman.
Heyman definitely.
I would even personally. Jimmy Hart would be up there. I would even put Paul Bearer up there.
Paul Bearer. Yeah, that's a good point. Because there's not a lot of great wrestling managers.
Not anymore. No.
Anymore. It's a shame because they were so good. They were so good. I think we're in agreement. Cornette, Jimmy Hart, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and Paul Heyman. I think it's a pretty easy one. That's easy. Because other than that, I mean, Paul Ellering.
I would probably include Miss Elizabeth up there just for the heck of it.
Just
give her some recognition, I guess.
Shits and giggles. Yeah, pretty much. We have a couple football topics here to get to before we close up shop, and then we'll get to the bonus show. Do you think the Broncos are going to improve dramatically?
Yes.
They got to.
Yep.
They had some good moves.
No, man, I think they won. If they didn't win completely, I think they were definitely top 5 in the offseason. I like what they did in the draft. No, I think we'll Kansas City's still our kryptonite, but no, I think we'll be perfectly fine. I got us at 12 wins right now, and and hosting the wild card round. So no, I think we'll be all right this year.
I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I did kind of call Sean Payton for you. I did tell you Sean Payton would be your pick. So.
Nope, I think
I still remember that. I will put myself on a pedestal with that this one time.
No, I like I like our running back core, especially I know J.K. Dobbins. I think more of a veteran experience and depth on that signing for the running back core, but receivers I think is fine. I know Evan Ingram, we got him, through free agency, the tight end from Jacksonville.
Drake Greenlaw is a good pick too.
Yep. So, no, I think we're fine. I like where we're going.
Do you have any final thoughts before we close up shop?
Seattle, are you mad?
I'm not bad. I'm not mad as a Seahawks fan. I think they're going to be for real. But I got
it's going to be interesting. Final thoughts: Oklahoma City, NBA champs. Keep rooting your local teams, guys. If you're a fan, Cleveland, there's hope. Brown fans, there's hope.
Please, there is hope. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dan Cruz. I'm coming to you from the beaches of lovely Long Island, New York. Mike's coming to you from the desert of Oklahoma. I don't even know it's a desert. The Barrens or whatever the hell it is. It's there. Oklahoma's there.
Tornado Valley, guys.
Hey,
Champions.
We'll see you in this life, and most certainly the next one. Cheers, guys.